Hello, hello, and welcome, Jen. It is so nice to have you on today with Energy Talks, Season 4, Episode 4. It is such a treat for you to be here.
I'm so glad to be here. And I love that it's 4-4 for our episode.
Our numerology girls, we can't help
Yes.
loving it. So,
Yep.
the way that I like to start is just to have you introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and what are some of the modalities that you currently offer.
Yeah. So my name is Jen Donlin. I am a tarot reader, first and foremost, then a Reiki master and spinal energetics practitioner. And I am born and raised in Morristown, New Jersey, so in the Northeast area.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, so I just got into all of this in the past 2 years. And so that's what I've been doing.
Love it. So, what was it exactly that drew you into spinal energetics?
So I started my spiritual awakening about 2 years ago, maybe three even now. And when I started my spiritual awakening, excuse me, I opened up to all these new layers of consciousness and all of the signs and synchronicities and angel numbers and getting downloads from spirit and all of this like higher level stuff, but I had no way to like ground it into my body. And I felt pretty like ungrounded throughout like that first 6 months, 12 months. And so as I began to come back to my body, I began to realize that there was so much in my body that I had not yet processed, so much there that was blocking me from changing my external reality. A lot of times people kind of get into the spiritual realm to manifest their desired reality, right? Like it's like, oh, I want to manifest the car, the job, the relationship, and all those things. And so I wanted to manifest those things, but I realized that in order to do that, I needed to shift internally. So what got me into spinal energetics was seeing a video, and I'm sure that you kind of experienced a similar thing where you kind of saw a video of it happening. You're like, holy shit, what's that? What is that? I need to try it. My soul needs that. Um, so that's kind of what happened. I saw a video, and it was 12 days after one of the biggest breakups I've had ever, and it just kind of divinely timed, and it cracked me wide open. And after that first session, which I went to Brenda Flores, who's an incredible spinal energetics practitioner, who is your first experience
Yes.
as well, which I
Shout
think is
out
just,
Brenda.
yeah, shout out to Brenda. So went to her, she cracked me wide open. And at the end of that, I immediately knew I needed to learn it. It wasn't like oh, let me sit with this and think about if I should get certified in this. It was like a holy mother of God that just changed my life. Like I equate my first experience, and I won't say this is for everyone, like we'll have the same experience, but it was similar to an ayahuasca experience of like, what? It dropped me into my heart space so much. So it like that cracked me wide open moment. And so
Mhm.
it's not like that for everyone, but that was my personal experience of I immediately knew this was something that I needed to dive deeper into and learn how to do. So
Yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about that first experience that you had with spinal energetics. So, like, was it in person? What was online? What were some of the things you mentioned being cracked wide open, but like, what were some other things that you experienced?
yeah, so during that first session, it was virtual. And I think there was what made it such a beautiful first session was the I want to shout out Brenda here for her ability to hold space for me and talk me through it and give support. She made me feel so safe to express myself, um, and like feel supported in going there and going deeper. Um, it was I had already been exposed to some energy work, and I had already gone through a bit of my Kundalini awakening already. So I was familiar about the energy moving and everything. And so I was able to move a lot in my first session, which I think amplified my experience and also made it so impactful, right? Like when you can move and you can really feel it, if that mind body connection's already there, even just a little bit, you can really feel how impactful this work is. But I think the level of safety that Brenda was able to provide me during that session to feel safe to go there was so powerful. And I just like free bird, was like, I do not care what I look like or how I'm acting, full ego put to the side. And it was such a freeing experience that I don't know that I'd ever been given the time or space to move like that. Like when I explain spinal now to a lot of my clients, I talk about how like little kids, because I used to be a special education teacher, how little kids will sit in a chair and they'll wiggle and move, and we're conditioned to tell them like, stop moving, be still, like you can't do that. And it's like, no, they're regulating their nervous system. They're quite literally moving energy all day, every day, because that's what they know how to do. And so, and they don't care how they look, right? The little kids, they're like doing whatever. And it was the first time I was able to get back to that like divine knowing and remembering of like, I don't care how I look. I just, my body knows what to do. And I think that's what made my first session so impactful. Like I did not care because I wasn't around anyone. Like, and Brenda made me feel so safe in that session.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, as practitioners, right? That's like something that we have to be so mindful and like really work hard to do, is creating the safe space for other people to be given the opportunity and permission to be able to express themselves, like you said, just so freely, with putting their ego to the side. And that can be hard. That can be tough. So like, it's amazing that you were able to give that gift to yourself, and that Brenda was able to hold space for you in that way. Um, I I I've never done ayahuasca. I've never been able to experience that. So I'm curious, in what way did you feel like like that experience of your first session related to ayahuasca? Like, what were some of the things that you would compare and contrast about that?
So interestingly enough, um, it wasn't probably, so I did my first spinal energetic session in February last year, or maybe no, it was January last year. So it's been a year. And then I didn't do ayahuasca until September of this past year. Um, but what I learned about the both is purging. We're quite literally purging. So
Got it.
during my ayahuasca ceremony, I
Mm-hmm.
only purged physically, like in from my mouth.
You're
Right?
like, how can I say this? Cute.
uh, Delicately. I only purged that way once. The rest of the time, I was purging through my hands and shaking. Like,
Mm.
so it is quite literally the exact same experience. You're purging the entire time. It's just how does your body want to purge? Like, um, and so it really is this deep, deep release, and you don't need the medicine, whether it's mushrooms or uh, THC or ayahuasca or any of those plant medicines, they help you access that part, but you don't need the medicine in order to release, right? Like we
Mm-hmm.
have that medicine internally and like that divine wisdom. And so I think what it equated it to, which I didn't realize at the time, it's that same experience of purging what no longer serves you energetically from your body. Um, and so these sessions really give you, they're very deeply sacred and ceremonial-esque, and they really do help you purge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely, I get it now with the emotional purge and that sensation of purging in general. That makes a lot of sense to me. And like
Yeah.
with my own experiences with spinal, um, I found sometimes, I don't know, maybe someone needs to hear this, but like I would spit and snot and have not only physical movements, but actual like purging sensations,
Yeah.
as well. So I'm curious to hear, what were some of the changes that you started to notice after your first spinal energetic session? Like, what were some of the differences that you noticed, be it in your internal or external reality?
Yeah. I would say one of the biggest um, changes that immediately happened was my ability to communicate. I started to be able to speak in front of people more confidently. I use this example a lot when I talk to my own clients about in eighth grade, I ran for president, and I got so nervous during my speech. It was a core memory of let's store that away and not process it. And like, we're not going to speak in front of people and we don't like talking in front of people. It was fully ingrained deep in my body, but I knew that I was meant to speak in front of people. But So there was a disconnect from my knowing and what my body was allowing me to do. And I immediately began to see a shift in my ability to communicate, not only like on TikTok or Instagram to clients, but also like in my one-on-one sessions and like holding space for people. So that was an immediate big shift that I noticed. Um, Another big shift was, this is just, I always say this to my clients as well, that like the universe is always responding to you. And after a spinal energetics session, like you have changed so much in your field that the universe will respond differently to you, whether it's positively or they'll bring about around a lesson to like be like, hey, look how far you've grown. So the big immediate positive shift was my following on Instagram and TikTok immediately shot up. I had my first like viral video right after I began to do spinal energetics. And I believe it was because I was able to have the capacity in my field to be able to be seen at that level. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
I don't think my nervous system had it. And I had been doing tarot on TikTok for like about a year prior. And after I started doing spinal, I began to see that change. And I think it was because of the internal shifts that I was making. And not that the follower count even matters, but I do believe it was, do I have the capacity to stay true to myself when I'm being observed or seen by that many people? And so I was able to like toss out some of the crap that was maybe preventing me from doing that. Um, and then I also began to notice, um, obviously, like, after a session, the universe can sometimes test you and bring, they'll throw some curveballs at you and be like, hey, remember this, try it again, and you're going to handle it differently. So my capacity to feel through and um, move through difficult feelings on my own independently without having to call a friend or without having to like codependently regulate with someone else. It's like, holy shit, I can move through this on my own. And so that was a huge piece of breaking codependent patterns. And I'm still working through that, all of that stuff. But I think those were some of the big things that happened immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can definitely relate to a lot of the things that you speak. It's so funny to me because I've only known you to be like an excellent communicator and like to have no issue holding space like
Oh yeah.
that. So I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean that was a problem?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, so if you knew me, like truly, and for like high school friends or people who knew me in high school, college, my parents, I was a different person, completely different person. Like I could not communicate to this level, or like I was a shell of myself. I truly believe that. And it's so, this work helps you take off the mask to be authentically yourself. And it is the most powerful work. It is the thing that has catapulted me forward. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this, it's just so powerful.
One of my favorite things whenever I'm doing these interviews is like you can just hear it in people's voices of just like the impact that this work has made in their lives. Like there's such this like confidence and authority about what they're speaking on, the experience that they've had, that it's just like it's undeniable.
Yeah.
Um, so I always love to witness and be able to see and share in that with others. So the work can be very big, very impactful, moves you through a lot of stuff. And sometimes it's not so great, not so fun. So,
Mm.
what kept you coming back to spinal energetics? What kept you receiving the work and and right sitting with it?
Yeah. Okay. So this is not for my why is going to be different than somebody else's why. However, this is my why. I was able to access this deep part of myself. And I have a Scorpio stellium. So I love the depths of like the shadowy pain that I want to experience and feel it. And I love intensity. This work gave me access to a part of myself I had never been able to access. It got me deeper than I had ever been able to go before. I had been in therapy since I was 18, and that kept me on the surface level. We can talk and talk and talk about something over and over and over again, but we're here. We are here, and we're not releasing anything. Nothing's changing. Like, okay, yeah, I know what to do, but my body doesn't know. right? And so this work, it was like, oh, we're making progress here. We're actually digging deep, and I'm getting to feel and experience the changes and see them. And I was able to connect with myself. I feel like I'd never been able to connect and feel myself and my soul this deeply ever before. And so I think it wasn't for any other reason than being able to connect with myself and feel myself. And for those who are on this journey of like healing, like if you feel like you've plateaued, this work will get you to a whole nother level of connection to self. And that's what I experienced. And that's why I kept coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, right. I think we become professionals at telling our stories.
Yeah.
So it makes it that much harder to try to get anywhere whenever we're like, no, I'm a professional at sharing this actually. So
Mm,
to be able to like dive deep with this work is a gift to yourself. It's also, I like to call it type 2 fun, because it's not fun in the moment, it's fun after. And like
mm,
the the pride you have with just like being able to meet yourself at a new level,
mm.
um, is always so satisfying.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing, this is my favorite question to be able to ask everyone during these interviews. If you could describe spinal energetics with just one word, what would it be?
Oh boy. Inhibited expression. It's kind of a two word.
It's okay. I'll take it. Okay.
Inhibited. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Inhibited. It, uninhibited expression.
Yeah.
Uninhibited. Does that make sense? More sense?
Yeah.
Uninhibited.
Yeah.
No. So I guess my word is, let's recorrect it. Uninhibited expression. This authentic expression, even we can shorten it. Authentic expression of this human expression. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I like added
No,
extra in there.
you're good. You're not alone. You're in good company. So,
Yeah.
could you expand a little on that?
Yeah. So I think we are conditioned in society to believe that like there is one type of expression, one way of expressing ourselves, that we can cry and we can like be happy. And like most people in this society today operate out of this capacity. And like it expands your expression, it expands your capacity to express sacred anger, sacred sadness, deep joy. Like there, it just expands your ability to express yourself authentically. So it allows you to get um more range within your ability to express yourself.
Yeah.
um yeah, so it's such powerful work. It broadens that, and most people live there because it doesn't feel safe to go outside. So it this work gives you the ability to feel safe in your body to push that boundary and expand. um and yeah.
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 I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. Um, well, Jen, I appreciate you taking the time to join me and to chat and to share a little bit about yourself and your journey. Um, if you could do me a favor and let our listeners know where they can find you, what services you currently offer. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can find me on my website, ascensionsouldevelopment.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Ascension Soul Development, TikTok at Spirit CC'd Me, and YouTube at Jen_Donlin. You can work with me one-on-one through tarot, one-on-one tarot sessions, one-on-one spinal or Reiki. I also have an Energy Unleashed session, which is a 2-hour transformative session where we dive into tarot and we use tarot to bring up the subconscious stuff that's working under the surface, to bring it to the surface and understand what we're going to release. And then that next hour, we release it on the table and you get to kind of work through it and process. So that's another thing. I also offer mentorship, lots of different things. But yeah, that's where you can find me, what I have to offer.
She's got the goods.
I try.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks so much, Kennedy.